right, day number 6 of reviewing every Star Wars movie, and of course that means today we get to talk about Revenge of the Jedi. I'm sorry, my bad. Return of the Jedi. God, Revenge of the Jedi would have been a cooler title, and we would have never had to compare this to Return of the King, the title that it was definitely spoofing off of, as the world and the story was spoofing off Dune. George Lucas is a well-read man. So what is Return of the Jedi? It is the epic conclusion of the original Star Wars trilogy. For years and years and years, it was the final movie of the Star Wars saga, and still, to this day, 2024, it is the final movie of the Star Wars saga, outside of the fan films. Weird Kathleen Kennedy fan fiction. This movie takes place a few years after Empire Strikes Back, after the fall of Han Solo and the loss of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is now back as a full-fledged Jedi badass. He's got this cool black outfit, this awesome green lightsaber, and he's here to save Han Solo and defeat Jabba the Hutt. The movie has a great opening. This whole sequence on Tatooine is a great sequence, and it really brings us back to that original A New Hope opening, being on Tatooine in that movie, and introducing us to Luke Skywalker. Now we get to see him come full circle, returning to that planet as a badass Jedi, and not as the weak, ambitious Luke Skywalker that he was in the beginning of the trilogy. This movie ends up building up this gigantic conflict that we had already been building up, with the rebellion and, of course, the Empire, except this movie has a twist. Luke now being a stronger, wiser Jedi, and knowing that Darth Vader is his father, spoiler alert if you didn't fucking know that. Luke has a different goal in this movie. It is not just to defeat the Empire, and it is not to get revenge on the Empire for killing his father like it was previously. Now, it is to save his father. It is to be the Jedi that he wants to be, to understand what being a Jedi actually means, and to go and save his father, to save the galaxy. Despite the fact that despite the fact that Obi-Wan tells him, Luke, you can't save him, you gotta kill him, Luke goes, you guys are the same dumbasses that led to the fall of the Empire. I am not taking any more advice from you guys. No. I'm gonna go do my own thing, and we're gonna save my dad. And that leads us to going to the planet of Endor, which is where this movie starts to be a pile of shit. Endor, on paper, is a really cool planet, and I think the whole idea on paper of you're gonna have the second Death Star, and the whole final run of this movie is gonna be the rebellion going onto this planet of Endor to disable the shields of the second Death Star, and then we're gonna have kind of a full circle moment of that first Death Star battle in the first movie. Now we're gonna have a second Death Star battle, which is gonna be the big finale of the whole freaking universe. On paper, that sounds cool, until you realize that it just ends up kind of being a retread. Whereas the first movie and the second movie were really exploring unique things with their third acts. The first movie having the Death Star, the second movie having Cloud City. This movie just feels like it's kind of going in a circle, and where it does do stuff differently, which is Endor, this forest planet, something that we have not seen, it also shits on itself with having the Ewoks. Now, I know there's a lot of Ewok apologists out there. Even me, at times, I'm an Ewok apologist. I mean, how can you not be there? They've become so iconic with Star Wars now. But there's too much of them in this movie. We all know it. This finale should have been badass rebellion humans fighting badass, lesser badass Empire stormtroopers that all suck. And it should have been a big war on this planet, like Return of the King, but instead we really get this goofy, sort of Monty Python sort of esque finale where you have the Ewoks throwing rocks at the stormtroopers and doing creative but extremely goofy stuff to sell toys. Now, outside of that, a lot of the stuff that happens on Endor is really cool, despite the fact that it does drag on a little too long, and that overall is my biggest problem with this movie compared to the previous two, which I've rated 5 out of 5s, is that this movie is the one where whenever I rewatch it, I feel the runtime, and I usually skip through it, and skip to my favorite parts. Because my favorite parts are arguably the best parts in the whole series. We have Luke and Vader on Endor, where Luke says, I know there's good in you, Father. I can feel the light pulling you back to it. And James Earl Jones in his amazing Darth Vader performance says,
It is too late for me, son.
And then he says the great line that inspired an entire terrible TV show, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. And that line right there says we have to have an Obi-Wan show because they have to have met between 4 and 3, because Obi-Wan never said that to him in episode 3. Well, guess what, you fucking idiots? He never said that in the Obi-Wan TV show either, so Kathleen Kennedy, you suck. I just can't believe it, man. You had one job. You had one job to shoehorn that freaking line into the Obi-Wan show to at least give you some credibility. And you didn't do it. But then you have the introduction of the Emperor, which is technically his first ever appearance, with Ian McDiarmid playing the characters. Of course, thematically and story-wise. You have seen him in 1, 2, and 3. He hasn't really been in 4 and 5. And in 1, 2, and 3, he was Palpatine. He was this, you know, weakly old man that was the leader of the Republic, and then he turned into Darth Sidious. He schemed his way to the top, and he's this ultra-powerful Dark Lord. And in this movie, that's what he is. He's this gross, ugly, just disgusting asshole, and you could tell that he is the epitome of evil, even if there's a shroud of mystery around him that viewers of this movie all the way back in 1983 didn't understand. They just knew he was a dick. They didn't know the whole past with him, but if you're watching this movie now, of course you do. You know who he is, you know why he is, and that's great. Either way you watch the movie, whether you're in a shroud of mystery on Palpatine or you're not, it still works. He's a great villain, and he represents the Empire as a whole, this evil that needs to be destroyed, and the whole sort of psychological battle that happens in the throne room with Luke and Vader. It's one of the greatest fights in the history of cinema. Just a great lightsaber battle with Luke going all out. Bang, bang, bang. Vader not wanting to kill his son, being more powerful than his son, but not wanting to kill him, and Luke trying to pull him to the light, and Sidious trying to pull Luke to the dark side by getting him to kill his own father. My God, is this the greatest thing ever? And then you get to the end of the fight, and the end of the fight is so brilliant, because in every other freaking movie ever, every action movie ever, you would have the hero striking down the villain. You would have Luke defeating the Emperor, and that being it. But in this, Luke does exactly what a Jedi should do in this moment. Luke does exactly what George Lucas intended this whole universe to be about. It's the epitome and the example of peace, of love, of light. When Luke has the chance to kill his father, what does he do instead? Instead, he rejects the power. He tosses the lightsaber away. He tells the Emperor that I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And in that one moment of sparing his father, of looking evil in the eyes and telling him to go fuck himself, that brings Vader back to the light. He remembers he is Anakin Skywalker. He remembers his love for Padme, his love for his children, and he takes the Emperor, he throws him over the top of the catwalk or whatever, and he kills him forever. Palpatine doesn't come back. He dies right there in the Death Star. Because you can't survive. You can't Why? Why, J.J. Abrams? And then you get the beautiful, perfect celebration on Endor at the end of the movie with the great music. I love it. It's beautiful. It's such a great ending. You get Anakin's Force Ghost showing up, which is a little awkward since he's killed like billions of people. I mean, he blew up planets, so it's a little it's strange, but still, it's a good moment. It's a beautiful moment. You have everybody happy, everybody celebrating, and they say, thank God there's not going to be a 7, 8, and 9, because that would be a terrible idea. And the galaxy was at peace forever and ever. And God, the next few videos are going to be fun. This is a great finale. I mean, it's just a great final movie. I forgot to mention the whole Death Star thing. Yeah, you get another trench run with Lando in the Falcon flying through the Death Star, and they blow up another Death Star. It's forgettable. But yeah, the whole movie, I mean, this is a great third act. It's a great third movie in this trilogy. Is it the weakest of the three? Yeah, kind of. But it is still extremely strong as a standalone movie. It fulfills all the expectations coming from Empire. All the loose ends and the things that Empire set up, this movie fulfills. The strongest part of Empire was this revelation of Vader being Luke's father. And what is Luke going to do with that now? And this movie's strongest aspect is Luke dealing with the fact that Darth Vader is his father. And how does he handle that? How does he truly become a Jedi? And what even is a Jedi? And a Jedi is not really what we saw in the prequels. That was kind of a bad imitation of what Jedis believed they were supposed to be. But Luke kind of represents what the true Jedi is. He's this forgiving light force. This being of complete peace. They seek peace. And when he sees his father dying, he says, no. I'm tossing my lightsaber. Fuck you, Palpatine. And yeah, let's go. I'm gonna go potentially kill my nephew now and then hide out on an island like a bitch. What a weird... I hate Disney. I'm gonna give Return of the Jedi a 4.5 out of 5. It's not a 5, it's not as good as the previous two, but it is a 4.5. It's amazing. That's the video, guys. Let me know what you think of Return of the Jedi down below. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe for more. I post every single day. We're gonna have the sequel videos coming up next, so be ready for that. I'll see you guys in the next one.